Siva can put your hand there and shout.
Okay, thank you. The title of Nick's speech is Schools, a Stepping Stone or a Roadblock. Nick's a graduate in the field of electrical and electronic engineering and a part-time karate instructor. Remind me not to get on his bad side. He's an introvert by nature, but he has a passion for sports and any physical activity. Maybe you can specify. Furthermore, he's a lover of music, be it rock, jazz, blue, or classical. So ladies and gentlemen, shall we put our hands together for Nick Datu, who will present his speech, Schools, a Stepping Stone or Roadblock? Nick Datu, Schools, a Stepping Stone or Roadblock. Ladies and gentlemen.
Evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests.
Good evening.
Schools, a stepping stone or a roadblock. Now when I say schools, what I mean is primary schools and secondary schools. How many of you actually remember your first few years in primary school? Show of hands. That's great. I guess some of you don't. But for those of you who don't, let me paint you a picture of my primary school when I was in Sabah, KK. I was around, let's say, 12 years old. So I would look at my school from outside. I see a large steel gate, steel link fences all around the compound, a tiny roof on top that leads along a corridor and splits on either side along a row of classrooms. Now, on the back of the classroom, you see a field where students play their sports and whatnot. You see a teacher's lounge, and maybe another row of classrooms and the canteen. Now, let me describe to you the school that I attended when I was in Taiwan. It was an international school, American education system. Well, to make it simple, it was just like a private university that you find here. Now, you may be thinking, of course, it's a private school, but what's important to me is what actually happens in the class and how the school is run. And the difference is quite obvious. Good or bad, why don't you decide? Well, first, the obvious difference is here, all of us wore school uniforms. Primary school, secondary school. Whereas there, it being an American style of education system, you wore whatever you wanted. Now, what I can gather from that is that, okay, here, we're wearing school uniforms, so maybe it gives us a sense of belonging, unity. No one feels left out. Whereas on the other side of the fence, people wore what they wanted, and usually what they wanted depended on the parents' pockets. So you go to school, you'll see the stereotypical geeks, and maybe the cool kids on the other side who wore branded clothing, and even at the age of 12, 13, 14, wore leather shoes. Wow. Me, myself, I was nowhere there. I was what you call the in-betweens. Not important. So, now looking back, schools here, yes, it's good. You have that sense of unity. But I think there was an underlying impact on the person that grew up to be an adult. I think it made them feel the sense and the need to conform. Whereas on the other side, you had individuality and freedom to express yourself, be who you want to be. The second point, it may sound a bit funny. I don't know how it was for you in school, but in my school, in primary school, for example, in language classes, Bahasa, for example, where a teacher would call, okay, you, please read the first passage, and you, read the next passage. It will always go something like this. There was always a rhythm. They will say, example, for the sake of those who don't speak Malay, I'm going to speak actually in Bahasa, so sorry. They'll say, pada suatu hari, cikgu saya pergi ke pasar dan membeli ayam. You, the next one, read. Bila cikgu saya membeli ayam, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. There was always that weird sort of rhymes. Why? Why is that? Now, okay, think about that. Now when I go to the other side, on the other side of the fence, the other school, it was, yes, we had those reading sessions. We read books like How to Kill a Mockingbird, all that kind of things. And after that was what was important. We actually had discussions. And bear in mind, 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds, and they were having discussions with personal opinions like adults. That was the difference. How they thought, and of course I couldn't participate because I was not used to that. Okay, point number 3. Student and teacher interaction is so different. Here it's very formal, very strict. Good morning teacher, selamat pagi cikgu, selamat petang cikgu. Whereas there it was like, oh hi Mr. Blah blah blah, or how are you Mr. Blah blah blah. It was very personal and it allowed people to engage. So when I think about these things now that I realize it, I wonder, how much has this affected me growing up as a person? Has it made me more confident? Has it made me less of an outspoken person? How has it affected me? Now, everything I've mentioned to you today is based on my personal experience and my own, based on my observation. But how do you think your school days have affected you as a person? Has it made you stronger, do you think? Or has it made you feel the need to be like everyone else? Now, I feel fortunate enough to be able to look back and realize that there was a difference and it actually did affect me in a way. So, and as today, having realized that, I try and fight not to conform, fight out of the norm and be a unique individual as much as I can, just like everyone here today. So with that, think about this question, my title. Is it has school been a stepping stone, or has it been a roadblock for you growing up into an adult? Thank you.